Delaware's first ever Innovation Week runs now through next week. It's a series of events organized in part by Technically Delaware. Christopher Wink is the co-founder of Technically and joins us to talk about innovation in the state in this week's First Person. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So a lot of people might not think of Delaware, Wilmington necessarily as a tech hub, an innovation hub, but you think it really is. It really can be.
First rule of what's happening right now in the world is you won't survive as a local community in the future if you don't have a technology hub. The next stage of employees that every business and organization is going to need, it's going to involve tech skills. So Delaware better have and is doing a whole lot of good work to do and bring and develop a tech community. So absolutely, it has to.
And what level is Wilmington, is Delaware at in that kind of process?
It's still new, but it's still new in a lot of places. So what do we really mean when we mean a tech community? You mean some smattering of technology companies building software you might use on a computer or a mobile device, designing beautiful imagery for the web for companies. But increasingly, technology also means everyone who's talking about data science. How are we using numbers and scalable software to better understand what we do? So Delaware has that. You can't go into any of the familiar businesses you know in Delaware and not find a technologist. So, UD is going to be covered with PhDs who are looking at how computer science changes their own research. That's a kind of tech community. But also on North Market Street in Wilmington, you might not see it, but on second and third floors of a lot of those buildings are the 5-person design agency, the 2-person web company, a software development company. This is happening. It's very new, and something like Delaware Innovation Week is meant to be a gathering of a lot of the pieces that have been here for years, but helping to convey that it's getting even stronger.
And a chance to network those and connect on a lot of different levels than maybe are being done previously.
Yeah, because there are tech events, technologists, people who code, people who build software, coming together all the time. This past weekend, the Coin Loft, which is a great co-working space in Wilmington, started up Delaware, a great initiative that came out of Governor Markell's office a few years ago. They organized a great hackathon, a weekend of coders working on technology problems together socially. That happens all the time, but those are really hard to get into. Something like Delaware Innovation Week is meant to throw open the doors, come to an event and see that this is happening, and we want more people to be a part of it.
And this technically, your company is something you've done in a lot of other regional places, Baltimore, Philly, Brooklyn. How does Wilmington compare to those? Are there lessons you've learned in sort of applying this kind of messaging in those cities that can apply to Wilmington, or is there uniqueness?
Both, right? So yeah, technically we're essentially a network of community newspapers, but we're online only, and instead of a neighborhood, we cover a topic, technology. And we're reporting on the people who are doing this technology in local settings. And so our past markets have been these big East Coast markets, but we're in Delaware with great intentionality. We came to Delaware about a year ago. We have reporters who are, live and breathe Delaware, and we report on a community that matters here. And there are differences, right? I mean, for all the reasons we know, everything we celebrate Delaware, it's a small state, which also means it's really connected. Mm-hmm. Because of that, it's a smaller community by virtue of its own size. So there's all these differences, but there's so many similarities. We're all different, from Brooklyn to Baltimore to Philadelphia to Delaware even, smaller communities still. Reading is talking about this in Pennsylvania. Everyone's on a different step of the spectrum. Maybe you're first meeting different groups. Maybe that first 3-person company is growing to 15 really quickly, 15 full-timers. Everyone's in a different step in that spectrum toward being the best version of itself, but we're all on the same pathway, and it's to attract and retain the smartest people who come through these borders. That's the goal here, essentially. Show that someone else smart and brilliant in a Delaware company or coming out of UD knows they can stay here to build a company, be part of something great. That's where Delaware is, still getting that message out to those who are already here.
Thanks for joining us, Chris. He is Christopher Wink, co-founder of Technically. The group's Delaware branch is presenting the first Delaware Innovation Week now through Saturday, November 21st. You can learn more online at delawareinnovationweek.com.